Episode 1 Unpopular Opinions. Tayea gone wild. Hello, dearest listener, and welcome to our first ever published episode of my newest podcast, Tea Time with Tayea. This will just be the first part of our 4-episode launch week. Truly just the start of many insane melatonin-induced topics. And as I'm sure you may realize now, I am your host, Tayea. For today's episode, we'll be getting into some of my personal favorite unpopular opinions. And trust me, some of them are a little wacky. But just before we get into things, I just want to set a minor warning for the content that is about to follow this statement. You see, this podcast, believe it or not, is actually not for the slight of heart. It's not really recommended for the likes of those who get offended easily or come to genuinely be hateful, because we're just here to have fun. Also, I assure you, if I make a mildly offensive joke, that is my sick and twisted humor at play, so there's no need to, take it personally. With that being said, I also do cuss here and there, so, perchance, don't listen around children. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, sit down, get all nice and cozy with a warm cup of tea, and let's just drown ourselves right into this thing, shall we? First and foremost, the beginning topic is a rather controversial one. Saying my opinion on this matter might actually start up some rather childish drama in the comments about who's really in the right and wrong here. And oh my gosh, it's really only episode 1. But I'm obviously here to tell you, as some unsuspecting internet goober, that the moment you come and listen to my show, all of my opinions are immediately factual. Yeah, I said it. You all heard me. I'll even say it a bit louder for the people in the back. My opinion becomes the only true perspective that matters the moment you come here. Y'all can argue with the wall because none of y'all are going to be clocking nothing. Looking at you, remember the mountains. Continuing, I present topic number 1. Does pineapple belong on pizza? In my opinion, that question asks a lot despite saying so little, but here's what I have to say about it. In terms of traditional cheesy goodness, hell no. However, just for it to taste good, yeah. Listen, like I said, you will not be catching me in these comments defending myself like the average common kissing Applejohn. So say what you want, it is good. Also, just for the record, I know that not everyone's taste buds are like the same, and some people do find it kind of nasty, like texture, yada yada yada. I can already hear the judgment. Moving on though, next up is about breakfast. Now, hear me out on this, okay? I can already hear some of my fellow Americans loading up their God-given Weatherby Sork shotguns in the background, okay? Calm down, little Mary Jane. You've got to be in bed now. You have to go to school tomorrow. Anyway, my take here is that breakfast is, it's kind of overrated. I'm sorry, okay? My bad. I didn't know this was, the true American dream to consume at least 2 jumbo pancakes, some sausage, bacon, eggs, and a colder than a frozen lake glass of OJ every morning at the ass crack of dawn. I'm sorry, but, it's just seriously never been a huge thing of mine to eat that kind of stuff in such proportion, in such way, without even rubbing the sleep out of my eye. Jesus Christ. Also, to double down, as far as I'm concerned, breakfasts aren't even all that common like that where I'm from. Our breakfast of choice? Breakfast burritos. With, of course, the occasional tortilla being replaced by biscuits, which you then have smashed with some gravy or maybe even some bacon, okay? Holy moly guacamole, guys. I genuinely cannot stress this enough, and I feel like I'm low-key gonna get jumped just for saying this, but you know what? Suck it. But anyway, my last hot take involving food is that there is literally nothing wrong with food from school. I think there's only like one other person I know who will agree with me on this. Shout out to my Pookie Bear for that, by the way. But you know what? I literally can't with people because I will never say this to someone because who am I to judge you to your face and like potentially hurt your feelings when I can just silently question your sanity. Okay? You know what? Like, I'm not going to tell you this. But like, going on, I have truly never understood how people can say stuff like, oh my gosh, the food looks nasty. I think I'm going to be sick. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. Shut the fuck. Like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite because when it comes to judging lunches and stuff, like, I'm not always the best with it either. But you know what? It has almost always been due to peer pressure, okay? Okay, just peer pressure. Also, you know what? The balls and goal you need to say with your full chest that the food looks nasty and gross when that was probably cooked with love by someone likely just trying to feed their family never like fails to like make me question motherfuckers like morals, okay? Because like imagine this, I come to your house, decide to stay for dinner, and right when they serve us, like your parents or your mom or your dad, whoever cooks, and I take a look at it, look you dead in the eyes, or like your mom or dad in the eyes or whoever cooked it and say, oh my god, that shit looks disgusting, I'm not gonna eat it, what the fuck? And then obviously the right thing to do there is say, why would you say that about my family's food? Like, we never said you had to eat anything, and why are you even coming to our house and staying for dinner when you're just gonna be saying that our food's so nasty, huh? Like, please, I'm begging. The hate is so unneeded. Please, I'm trying. I can't. Okay. Anyway, good grief. Anyway, following that topic is this next one, okay? Puns, they're so funny, okay? They're funny. They're hilarious. I'm sick and tired of pretending like they're not. Like, y'all go crazy laughing at a literal piece of bread falling or something, but like not at a properly placed and witty pun that was oh so cleverly delivered. Like, what? Excuse me, you you uncultured swine, you babbling baboon, you you blithering bumpkin, you fool. Because like, you know what, this topic is just so justified to me. Like, I'm not even gonna elaborate further. I don't need to like make an argument and go on a rant about this because you know what, I'm valid for this and no one can tell me otherwise. Go argue with the wall because you're not clocking this. Next is also relatively controversial, especially to those in older generations, okay? It's about education. And yeah, I know this is an especially touchy subject for them, but you know what? I'm just an unsuspecting girl. So anyway, my opinion here is that high school almost never genuinely prepares you for like college. Okay, now I feel like this is a particularly important topic for me to speak on, like not only because I myself am a college student, but like also the fact that I want others to not suffer the way I did and the way I am right now, okay? Like, it's bad. I can't go into details. It's just so bad. Like, just to start off, okay? Just starting off, my life when I first started sucked. It sucked. It was bad. Booty cheeks, literal booty cheeks. It was not okay. I was so unready, and like the stress and the general content of it, I was so unprepared. Like, it was just like going from like maybe like a solid 50 to a 100. If anything, I feel like the only classes that even like relatively prepared me for the kind of material and like, what's even the word? Like, motivation you need to do all of the material that is expected of you. And then that's not even mentioning like the full-time dormitory college students. Like, they have like, if you haven't like been working to save money since the moment you can work legally as a minor, like without parent consent, of course, or like one of those workforce forms, then you have little to no money. Especially the fact that most of the people who live around here are like middle class, maybe upper middle class if you're lucky, but most people are like low class, middle class, or like upper middle class. Upper middle class is probably the richest person you'll find around here. And that, like, it's bad. Well, not really bad necessarily, but still, I mean it in the sense that these students, these children, not necessarily children because they're college students now, but these people aren't mentally and probably financially prepared to, like, fend for themselves in the real world. Like, it's bad, it's terrible. And I feel like parents should also, like, warn, like, I feel like they give warnings and then we don't take it seriously, and it's okay. This is rambling now. Okay, guys, if y'all want to hear about this some more, we can do it in another episode. I'm not going to ramble on about this. This might go in another episode, not going to lie, but continuing, moving on to the next topic, guys. What we've got next would be that Gotcha was and still is unironically fun to play with and goof around on, okay? You guys can deadass throw me into the asylum with this one, because you know what? I will die on this hill. If only I could, I'd take a deal with God, okay? Yeah, it's that bad. When I first discovered what it was, like, I was hooked, and I couldn't stop watching, further contributing to some of my many other later obsessions, okay? I genuinely loved being able to create, like, silly little OCs and stuff, okay? You know, like, making them look trendy and aesthetic because a gotcha tuber made a video on those kind of outfits. I also love, like, the side quest mini games they had. They were, like, super cute and simple to me. I also remember how you could, like, go and use your diamonds to, like, buy them, like, not buy them, buy, like, these little items and stuff from what I believe was a gotcha banner, you know, thus the name of the original game, Gotcha Life, okay? I don't know. Also, the community back then was always super nice and supportive of, like, one another. Like, like, seriously, what a time to be alive, man. It also, like, brings back so many good memories. Like, and then at the same time, it really makes me feel old. Like, I'm over here talking as if I'm, like, 65 and I have, like, grandkids who just sent me away to a nursery home and someone came to visit me for the first time in months, and I'm, like, feeling nostalgic. Like, what the frick? Resuming again, this next subject is also, once again, really controversial, and I don't mean that in, like, the joking, once again, silly sense from before. Like, this is something actual people have strong opinions on, so don't go slurring at me in the comments because of this, okay? Once again, looking at you, remember the mountains. My hot take here is that Thanksgiving should be more well-beloved, okay? Like, I don't know if this is just, like, more of a local thing or, you know, just because most of the people that I'm, well, acquainted with are, for the most part, middle class economically. I don't know. I just can't think of anyone who celebrates Thanksgiving all out like that, okay? Now, clearly, I'm not saying the event of what Thanksgiving's, like, supposed to be celebrating is a good thing, considering what went down for it to, like, become something historically significant for the modern day world. But I am saying that more people should continue to celebrate it. So, like, you know, we can not only just redefine what Thanksgiving means beyond just thankfulness and, you know, whatever, but also just have another excuse for us as a society to all be collective big backs, okay? Like, this needs to be a national thing, okay? Like, hear me out. Phew, all right. Now that scary topic is taken care of, I've got room for one more unpopular opinion. Are you ready to hear it? Okay, the final hot take of today's episode is that dogs and cats are not automatically better than one another. They are equal, okay? Now, I may be a cat person, but that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate, like, the sweet and loyal nature that dogs have. Because in the end, they're both cutie patootie pies, guys. Like, be real. Anyway, ignoring how short and utterly undetailed that last bit was, with all of that said, that brings us to the end of today's episode. I know it was kind of short, but tell me, my beloved audience member, what do you think about these unpopular opinions? Do you hate me already? With all jokes aside, thanks for joining me in today's episode of Tea Time with Tayea. I'm your host, and I'll be seeing you in tomorrow's Launch Week episode, Things I Can't Stop Thinking About. Until then, take care, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. Bye-bye!